California three strikes law remains one of the harshest sentencing schemes in the nation. And in my view, it really amounts to cruel and unusual punishment. It disproportionately affects Black and Latino men, and it's based on this notion that we're just going to lock people up and throw away the key, that we're going to warehouse people who have committed crimes rather than try to rehabilitate them and reintegrate them into society. Now, one piece of good news is that on November 6, 2012, the California voters did pass Proposition 36. And Proposition 36 reforms three strikes law by saying that if you have two prior strikes and you pick up a new case, in order for them to strike you out, the new case has to be a serious or violent felony. It can't be just any felony on the book. Now, under the old system, any felony could cause you to be struck out. So we had people going to prison for life for stealing a pizza or stealing medicine for their children or having a small amount of drugs in their possession. And under the new system, that's not the case. The new case has to be a serious crime like rape or assault with a deadly weapon or robbery. Now, I want to talk about how three strikes works in second strike cases and also in third strike cases. Now, a second strike case is a situation where you have one prior strike conviction on your record and you pick up a new felony. Now, the way the system works is, number one, you're ineligible for probation on the new case. Number two, whatever the sentence would be on the new case, it's automatically doubled. So if it's a 2-year case, for example, where you would do 2 years in state prison, you do 4 years in state prison. And thirdly, in a second strike case, you have to do 80 to 85% of the time. So normally, if you're sentenced to state prison in California on a non-strike case, you only do 50% of the time, or you're entitled to 50% credit. So if it's a 6-year sentence, for example, you're only going to do a maximum of 3 years. But under a second strike case, you're going to do more than 5 years because you have to do 80 to 85% of the time. So it's a very harsh sentencing scheme, even in a second strike case. Now, in a third strike case, this is a situation where you have 2 or more prior strike convictions, and you pick up a new case that counts also as a strike or a serious or violent felony. In a third strike case, if you're convicted, you automatically face a minimum of 25 to life in state prison. Again, you're ineligible for probation, like in a second strike case. You'll do at least 25 years to life in state prison, and you don't get any custody credits. So let's say you get sentenced to 25 to life, you're going to do 25 actual years before you're even eligible for probation. Now, here at Schaus Law Group, we have assembled a team of former prosecutors, former police officers, expert attorneys, investigators, with the goal of helping clients to win three strikes cases. And we basically have a saying here. The way we approach it is beat it, reduce it, or strike it. Now, first of all, beat it. If you can win your new case, then it doesn't matter how many strikes you have on your record. The sentencing scheme won't apply. So let's say that you have 5 strikes on your record and you pick up a new case of robbery. If we can win the new case, if we can get you acquitted of robbery, then you won't do any time because you've beat the new case. So beat it, reduce it, strike it. Reduce it. If your new case is a wobbler, which means that it could be filed as a felony or a misdemeanor, as many of these cases are, if we can convince the court to reduce the charge from a felony to a misdemeanor, then three strikes law won't apply because it only applies to felony cases. Finally, strike it. We can go to the judge and ask the judge to strike one or more of the prior strikes. It's a process that we call a Ramiro motion, and it's really in the discretion of the judge to strike prior strike convictions or sort of treat them as non-existent for sentencing purposes. And if we can convince the judge to do that, then we could have a third strike case reduced, let's say, to a second strike case, or even a second strike reduced to a non-strike case, and really avoid the harsh consequences of life in prison or many years in prison for our client.